Good afternoon and welcome to today's presentation looking at how you create stunning information apps and interactive dashboards with cloud data. Format today, we've got 3 minutes. Whilst we're on, the phone lines are muted. If anybody wants to ask a question, please type it into the chat panel and we'll answer. If we have time, we'll answer at the end. We sometimes have a lot to squeeze into 30 minutes. We sometimes run out at the end. If we do, then we will get back to you over email with answers to your questions. I'm going to go through about 3 PowerPoint slides to set the ground here, but most of the time we'll spend in the products looking at how we actually achieve what we're talking about here. So when I talk about information apps and interactive dashboards, what do we mean? Well, the interesting thing is that it's taking a leaf from a way that we've become used in our sort of personal lives to consuming information. Every day, we all consume information without even thinking about it. Whether we go to a weather website to get a forecast, or go and look at our bank account online, or order movie tickets online, or do online shopping, all our online experiences are essentially sort of information access applications, accessing information on servers around the world. And we've never been trained on these applications. We've never read the manual on them. We can just use them, and we can actually do some quite sophisticated things with them. So that begs the question, why can't we access business information this easily? And that's what we'll look at today, which is a way in which you can access business information as easily as you can access these consumer sources when you're at work. Now, one of the reasons that we haven't got this sort of access today in organizations is we tend to focus on one half of the BI equation. We've tended with business intelligence, with the tools to get information inside businesses, to focus on data discovery or end-user reporting, or allowing end-users to do things for themselves, which is great for the analysts in the organization. In fact, it's exactly what the analysts in the organization need, a flexible tool which they can get to grips with, go on the training course, and they can use day after day and become expert in it. And we've seen great success, and there are many tools out on the market that allow you to do this, and they're used in organizations around the world to great effect. Unfortunately, for the operational users, the operational business users in an organization, the story is a little different. Now, these represent maybe 80 to 90% of the people in an organization, and sort of ad hoc data discovery tools are not really what they need. They need something much more akin to the information apps that I was just talking about that we all use on our mobile devices, on browsers, day in and day out. And these are sort of task-focused, zero-training interfaces. Task focus, each one is on a particular activity, getting a weather forecast, looking up a bank account. And there's zero training. As I say, you don't go on a training course to use them, you don't read the manuals to use them. And this is what most people need most of the time. And what we're going to look at today is how Decision Point, on top of Progress Data Direct Cloud Data Access, allows you to make these easy to build, these dashboards easy to build, easy to publish, and critically easy to use for the end users, for people to pick up and just be able to click, and get the information they need without having to disrupt it, without having to think about where the information is or how they get access. It just naturally falls into their hands. And so the first thing we're going to do is have a look at one of these in action, first of all on an iPad. So this is my iPad here. I'm projecting it up on the screen using a piece of software, but actually what you're seeing here is my iPad. And if I come into the Decision Point viewer here, what we see is one of these applications. We see it's a sales application for a fictitious laptop company. And first of all, it gives us an overview of where we are, what our revenues, how many orders, what the average order is. What we can do now is we can navigate to other parts of the data. So I can click on here and drill back up to the top of my hierarchy. So I can see that in all regions and then for all products, I have 5,000 orders, an average order value of 475 with revenue just over $2 million. And then in the table below, I get that broken down by brand, both in a table and a chart. And the average order is highlighted with an alert, a traffic light alert, to show me when the average order drops below 400. That's the critical point that I have. And so from this top level view, I can do the reverse and go down into, say, maybe the south. Look at the numbers in the southern region. Look at that by a particular brand, the ThinkLine brand, or perhaps look at that brand across the whole region. So great flexibility. And I don't have to think to wonder about the data and where it comes from. It's just natural. I want to click on a region. I want a different region. I just drop down the region dialog. If I want a view by region, click the point in the middle, and I get a view by region. There, instead of product, which was the first tab, I get region, which is the second tab. I've also got a third one, which gives me customer type, which shows me a more dashboardy view over time of how my various customer segments are forming. And all of these are intertwined. So whenever I drill down here, I'm showing for a particular region. If I drill down into the Midwest, and when I come into the region tab, I've drilled down into the Midwest states. So everything, I don't have to, the user doesn't have to think about where they are in the data, just as they naturally flow through the tabs, they get the data that they're expecting. When I've got to the bottom here, I can then look in even more detail. I can take the orders that are comprised here and click on the transactions window and see the underlying transactions which are underpinning these. Again, I don't have to think about how to do it. I just click a big button saying transactions. And even here, I can maybe go and have a look at different types of customers and narrow down here maybe to the large corporate. So that's the sort of thing that I'm talking about when I talk about these information applications or interactive dashboards. Now that you saw it there working on a mobile device, on an iPad, but actually just as well it'll work on a desktop in the browser, because although mobile is incredibly important, you also need to deliver these things to people's desktop. More than half, all the analysts predict more than half of business intelligence will continue to be consumed, or information will continue to be consumed on laptops or desktops for the foreseeable future. And here exactly the same dashboard, just rendered through the wonders of HTML5, rendered inside a browser. I can do all the same things that you saw me do on the iPad, only now I'm doing it in my browser on my laptop. No need to do anything different to the dashboard. One dashboard will render in both locations. But the interesting thing is that that's okay if data is coming from inside your organization. You can connect to a database. You can just do all this sort of thing. What happens if you also want to your on-premise data some cloud data? Well, one of the things we're going to look at today is how Decision Point, from our product Decision Point, works with the Progress Data Direct Cloud in order to bring both on-premise and cloud-based data into the same environment, so that you can build these sort of dashboards, the dashboards that we've just looked at, build one from scratch on Google Analytics inside Decision Point. So the Progress Data Direct Cloud gives us a standard access point to all these data sources, so that Decision Point can add its value in making these interactive data applications, these interactive dashboards, trivially easy to create. So what we're going to do is we're going to, as I say, I'm going to build one of these dashboards that you've just seen, based in fact on a Google Analytics store, with data coming through the Progress Data Direct Cloud into this Decision Point, and then out into my browser and onto my iPad. So obviously the first place we have to white that out. The first place we have to go to is to get our data, and to do that, I log into the Data Direct Cloud. And connecting to these data sources here is a web-based interface, and it's standardized, and it's really straightforward to do. So I take this one that I've created here, which is the Google Google Analytics access that we're going to be looking at today. All I had to do to create this is give it a name, choose. In fact, I'll show you if I go here. I can go to the data source. There are many data sources I can use. I just clicked on the Google Analytics. I then give it a name. I can then pick an authorization profile that will authenticate me. I've already authenticated in this account against my Google Analytics store. I can say which of the Google Analytics sites registered I've got. I can look at what view of the data I want, and then maybe sort of say I want to go from 100 days ago to today. And so that would give me the all the data that I need out of the Google Analytics service. As I say, I've set one up already, and it's this Google Test One. I did exactly that you've just seen there, all set up in order to be able to access from inside Decision Point. And that's all I really need to do in the Data Direct Cloud. So the next thing I need to do is then tell Decision Point how to get hold of that data. Do that in the piece of Decision Point called Decision Point Data Center. And one of the things we do here is, alongside all our on-premise data sources, whether it's Hadoop or business objects or an Excel server, an Excel file sitting on a server somewhere, I've also got this Google Analytics DD, Data Direct, which just allows me to specify that connection that I've just set up in the cloud. So I connect through to that so that I can see that inside my decision point environment. And then I create a query, and this query is called Google DD Cloud, Data Direct Cloud. And what I do there is I then specify the query from Google that I want to get, and I'm just getting all the information that I might want from there, ordering it by date. I pick the objects from that query that I want to see in here, and then I set up a hierarchy so that I can drill from country to city to internet service provider. So I've set that up as a, and all of that, just create that drag and drop. And once you've done that, you can then start the real business of building your dashboard. So here we are in the Decision Point Designer, and we're going to create from scratch a dashboard from that data set. So I go into the Google Data Direct Cloud data set and say I want to connect that. Now what this is doing now is going through the Intivia Decision Point server out to the Data Direct Cloud, which is pointing me at data inside my Google Analytics account. That's being gone out and then pulled back into the dashboard so I can use that data to build the front end, very similar to the front end that you saw in the laptop shell example. So now that it's brought the data back, I'm sitting here inside the Decision Point Designer, which allows me to just drag and drop components in order to be able to design my dashboard. So for example, I might want to first of all pull on, I'm going to pull on a column chart here. And it's by country, and there are too many countries to show on here, so I'm going to actually do it by date instead. I just change what I want to see in here, all very quickly and easily configurable in terms of the data view that I want to see in this chart. So one thing, quite a lot of points on here. I mean, website data is quite low grade, so I'm going to change this and make the chart so that the labels are only every second one is there, which makes it much cleaner so that's my first view of the data is going to be this one, which is all my my visits to my website over time. That's the number of users. I could maybe take the number of users and put in the number of sessions if I was more interested in that, whatever I want to do. Maybe I'll stick with users here. So there we go. But we want to be able to navigate this. As you saw in the other dashboard, navigation is a key part of allowing users to interact with their data. Static dashboards are not what people want. What they want is the ability to see different, to ask more questions and say, well, I wonder how that looks here by this region or by this time period. So there are two things we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to allow the user to navigate by time and narrow down the months. Here we've got all 100 days that we had in there. This is defaulted to country, but I'm going to month so that I can then navigate that by month. And then you saw me put a hierarchy on the country, so I'm going to allow the user to drill down that hierarchy so they can see the thing for countries, and then for regions, for then countries, and then for countries, cities, and internet service providers. It's often quite nice to put a summary display up on the top here so that you can see at a glance what it is that's going on, how many users and sessions you've got. So we'll put users and page views and sessions in there. Now there's another metric to do here, which is page views per session. It's quite a critical measure, but it's not in the data, so I'm going to add it inside Decision Point. Decision Point has its own calculation engine, so I'm going to say, not sessions per page views per session. Keep it upper in common with the other measures there, and then I'm going to format that to 2 decimal places so it doesn't go wild, and then I can just say it's going to be views, so the number of page views divided by the number of sessions, and that will calculate in the dashboard. That's then I've there. And then put that format in. Take a little time to, we'll leave it like that. So that's an overview of the data, the chart. I've got my navigation, and I've got this ability to see the overall summary. But I don't just want the user, like in my other dashboard, I don't just want the user to see one view. So we're going to add a number of views here. So the first thing, I'm going to actually cut this and save it for later. And I'm going to put a view stack on here. And the view stack will allow me to, will actually allow the end user to navigate between different views of the data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these views the one that I had before, which was by time. And then the second one is just going to be by region. And we don't need the third one here, so we'll just delete that. So we've now got these two. What I'm going to do is then go to the time tab and then paste back in my my chart that was by date. So we've got that there. And then I'm going to go into the region tab. And this time I'm going to add a different one here, which is I'm going to start off with another column chart. This time I am going to do it by country, but again there are too many countries. But I'm just going to take the top 30 to give me something more manageable. And then I'm going to sort this by the number of users, and then reverse that sort to give me a classic sort of long tail. So you can see that a lot of most of the traffic is coming from 3 countries. You can see how it spans off over the rest of the geographies. I might add a table as well, so I can see this in some more detail. And people typically like both a graphical and a table view of the data. And so if I put that there, and I'm going to put in page views and sessions as well as the number of users in here. So I've got that. And actually I'm going to, I apologize, I mean to sort those. I'm going to put them in the columns, page views and sessions, add them in there, and then, so I've got my, and actually I'm going to sort by number of users so that I see all the big ones at the top. There we go. So I've now got my my dashboard. Now all I've done is dragged and dropped here. Not really done anything that complicated, but I now have, if I bring up my browser, I have a fully working, interactive, navigatable dashboard with the data that's coming. This data is genuinely coming all the way from Google Analytics through the Progress Data Direct Cloud into Decision Point and into this dashboard, which we have literally just created in the last 5 or 6 minutes. So when that data loads, so now what we have is the ability to drill here, to view this by the chart over time, view it by region. We can see it for a particular month. We can drill down into the months. We can also drill down into the country, so I can maybe go at United States. Inside United States, I can look at a particular cities inside there. And once inside cities, I could go to San Francisco. I can drill down there. I could drill down further into the ISPs underneath that. And that shows you just how easily and quickly I can create one of these dashboards. I mean, as I say, I created that from scratch, just in as we've been talking here. And if I had a little more time, I could create something a little more sophisticated. Maybe put a title on, some logos to engage end users, sort of titles on the summary, and maybe a few more views of this. So we had the time and region view from before, but maybe looking at that by browsers by browsers and operating systems, or looking at it by the day of the week. So if I can get back up to the top here for all countries, you can see that the sort of the hump of activities in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. When I drill down to the United Kingdom and come back here, we see it's slightly different. It's sort of not quite as humped. And in fact, if I go to the United States, it's different again. So you're starting to see trends in the day there, sort of not Tuesday, Wednesday, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday rather than Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when I go to the States. So lots of data that I can get at here. There are thousands and thousands of data points that I can navigate through a dashboard that took sort of next to no time to set up. But critically it allows end users this really simple interface. Once you've created this, then end users can answer their second and third and fourth questions and be in control of it, rather than having a dashboard which just allows them to see an overview and nothing more. And that's what these interactive dashboards are all about. It's giving people who need their lives to be driven by data. The best and most efficient thing is for people to their minute by minute, day by day actions to be driven by data. but they don't want to go into that data for themselves. They have no time, there's no inclination, there's no expertise in doing that. So the data has to flow to them in the process of their everyday activities. And interfaces like this are the way of doing that. So they're simple, they speak the user's language, and they could just navigate the data and get the bits of information made quickly and easily, so they can get into the system, get what they need, get out, and get on with what they want to do. If we come back to the presentation then, so I mean that's really the guts of today. What did we do? We talked a bit about new style of business intelligence and delivering easy to use to the end user, and we saw how easy it was to do that, to take a cloud-based data store in terms of Google Analytics, to be able to then wire that up from scratch and hook it into the decision point environment. Then from that, the designer, by just dragging and dropping, we created a dashboard which had two views of the data, could drill over a time dimension, it could drill down into a region direction, it had a summary at the top, and it allowed us to navigate. It allowed all these components to be in sync, so the user just always had the information expected at their fingertips. And then we saw that with a little extra effort, that you could expand that out. I mean, I say a little extra effort, it probably took about 15 or 20 minutes over and above what we did today to create that second dashboard, which really is a sort of a good sort of production-ready dashboard, giving the user 4 views of data, a lot of navigation capability, all at their fingertips, able to be delivered both on the desktop and on the iPad. So we're a little ahead of time today, so we have got time for questions. So if anybody has any questions, then please type them into the chat window here. And if there are no questions, but you want to find out more, then the link on the screen there, .com/decisionpoint Excel, will give you access to our Excel-based product, which is an easy one for you to be able to pick up and yourself to build a dashboard like this. Or also at that link, you'll find, or on other pages on the site, you'll find the ability to our enterprise product, which is what we saw today, which will allow you to connect through to both your enterprise data sources and to your data direct cloud-based data sources. So, and there is a question here, and that is, what are the range of data sources that you connect to? So, as I said, we talked today about how we collect through progress to the cloud data sources. We also attach, as you saw in the in Data Center, we attach to a number of other data sources. Typically data warehouses, Hadoop data stores. As I said, we can access Excel files on the server, which are actually on the client or the server, but the server Excel files on the server are often quite a convenient way of getting started quickly if you don't have the database infrastructure. And so basically you can access with a JDBC for relational data, or an MDX interface for all that data we can get hold of. And we can also go directly into Business Objects platform to get data out of there. So then one other question, is it possible to take these, in the mobile case, is it possible to take these dashboards offline? Interesting question. Yes, it is. And so one of the ways in which Decision Point works is it actually pulls a lot of the data, or pulls the data to the dashboard, so that, which has two benefits. One is that the device at the front end, whether that be on the desktop or on the iPad, is doing a lot of the work, which makes it very scalable on the server, because the load on the server is lighter, so you're making use of all available machine horsepower. But because the data has come to the client, it means it is then available for offline access. So actually, you could take any of these dashboards that you saw today and deliver them to, say, an iPad, and then if the user was out of range of the network and or didn't have a network connection, a poor sort of 2G sort of connection wasn't really worth using, then they had all the access that you saw, all the interactivity, the drill down, the drill across, all that capability, whilst they're disconnected from the server, because the last data they saw is cached inside the dashboard. So I don't see any questions, so we will bring that to close. Thank you very much for attending. As I say, if you want to find out more, come to our website, antivio.com, and register for either a trial of our enterprise product or at the link as you see on the screen our Excel products. Thank you very much.